Hello everyone, and welcome to another WARNO tutorial video about how to get around in this lovely tent and where you can find everything. As you can see over here, let's start with some obvious things. You see a lovely television that shows you you're online. This screen overall will fill out in the future with patch notes or other helpful informations about the state of the game. Down here, you have your level and your account, together with your lovely picture. And when you click on it, you can see all your different stats in all your games. So far, the obvious ones. If you want to change your nickname, you can do this here as well. Then, Armory, we already covered that in the first video about WARNO. Multiplayer and solo, easy to find. Mod Center, soon to come. So let's jump into the options tab and let's figure out where everything is there and what all these different options mean. Rules of engagement, advance. Let's start in the gameplay section. This is easy one. Whatever you send it on is your normal mouse click. So if you send it on move, your units will just move on normal mouse click. If you send it on hunt, your units will hunt when you use the normal mouse click and you don't have to Q move them that way. But you have to Q move them for normal move commands. Motorized Pathfinding. This is if they are when you click a move command or hunt command for a normal motorized unit, if they're supposed to go straight forward or take a faster route, like for example through a forest. Same here for on foot. Faster route or just a straight way. Rules of engagement when idle. This is about what your units do when you just leave them sitting around. For example, you unload them on a road. What should they do? If you have them on nothing like me, they will just sit on the road until ordered somewhere else. If you put them out in auto cover, they will try to find a building or a forest nearby to get into to protect themselves. So your tanks will leave the road, which can have which obviously has the helpful side effect that they are better protected from enemy fire, but also might have the unhelpful side effect that they don't have the line of sight you want to have them have. So I usually put it on nothing and then give them the orders myself. But obviously if you don't want to have that micro, you can use auto cover. And hold is the same as the smart auto hold, just that they do it automatically at that point with all the units that you leave idle around. Unarmed vehicles. Rules of engagements. What should you do when you see unarmed vehicles like transport? Should your units hold fire or should they fire at will? I would always say fire at will, because otherwise you miss out on a lot of transport snipes. So sure, you will also kill enemy supply trucks that you might be able to capture, but usually you're not able to capture them anyways because they drive away or they're already empty. So the risk reward is not worth it putting it on hold on fire in my eyes. But that's the option and you can choose this as well. Ground missiles, all units or no transports. Another option of what to engage and what to prioritize for your ground units. So for example, your infanteries with Dragon ATGMs, should they hit transports or should they focus on only tanks and not reveal themselves when the transport goes by? I have it on all units because once again, sniping transports is worthwhile in my eyes, so I put it on all units. Auto sale, one of the really big new changes here, because obviously selling your transports is a big new mechanic, and you can put them on auto, and then all your unarmed transports will go back and automatically be resold. That's only for unarmed ones, so the ones with like a jeep with a 50 cal on top or a helicopter with rocket launchers doesn't go back automatically. So I can see the point for going yes. I for now say no, because I want to see if I actually want to use the transports around and see how it goes in the future. But for everyone who just doesn't want to bother around, just press yes. And then your transports that would disappear in Steel Division kind of disappear here as well, just that they have to drive the whole way back. Sticky selection from strategic campaign, obviously not a factor yet. Because we don't have that in Wargame yet. or in WARNO. Always messing that up. In WARNO. Sticky until order. Not sticky, sticky here for selection. Should you keep them? Should you keep once you move them somewhere? Should they still be selected? Or should they be only be selected till you give them order? Or should they unselect themselves once you do another click? I like sticky, but that's just me. Auto Winchester, big, has a comeback as well from Steel Division. On yes, your planes with rockets, like ground attacks rockets and so on, will automatically evac once they have gone rid of their payload. For example, A-10, once it fired all its ATGM rockets, will go back automatically if you have it on yes. If you have it on no, you can still keep it around for firing onto enemy ground units, but obviously you have to micro it back yourself. Or wait till it's run out. It runs out of fuel. Sorry for that. Mousetrap is something about the screen. If you have it on yes, then and apply, then you can't leave the screen if you have more than one screen, like me. If you set it on no, obviously really helpful for streamers. I can leave over to my other screen by moving here. Mouse border scroll, same thing. Should you be able to border scroll with your mouse? Or should you only be able to border scroll with VSD? I have it on no because I have Mousetrap off, and it would be really annoying with having one side of your screen off. But I would recommend to most people to have it on, because I usually find mouse border scrolling quite helpful in games, but in Eugen games you can have it on no as well. So the option is a really nice one to have. Pet camera control. I don't have a pet, so I guess if you have a pet, that's something you can activate. And language is obvious. Autosave each replay, also really nice. Otherwise you have to press it in the menu after, and as most of them are cloud saved anyway and don't take space up on your PC, unless you want them to take up space in your PC, I don't see a reason why you shouldn't put that on yes. Other than for having more order in your replays, but I'd rather have all of them and not instead of having more order but then forgetting one important one that I wanted to save. Interface. RTS and NATO icons. I like the RTS icons of Eugen, but obviously you can have NATO as well, and there might be more options here to come. But we will see. Show armor value, yes or no. That doesn't quite fully work for me yet. I hope it works like in Steel Division Normandy 44 soon, that you can see the frontal armor of your tank and the main gun penetration of your tank next to your unit card. But obviously the unit cards are still work in progress, but that's what it should be in the future, and I would always recommend this on yes. As long as you're not a super experienced player and know all the values by heart. Even I still have it on in Steel Division because sometimes I just want to know the pan chances. Because I forget by all the amount of units we got in Steel Division. Aggregated and merge units. Allow unit aggregation. This means when you are in the game, your unit cards, if you don't have it on aggregated, they will stack over each other on your screen. If you have it on aggregated and you zoom out, they will be put next to each other. And if you have them on aggregated on all of them, even the same kind of unit will just be put next to each other. If you have it on aggregated and merge, once you control unit groups with like control 1 or control 2 control groups, then they will merge. So if you have 10 T80Us, for example, and in one group, then all the 10 icons will be merged into one with it saying 10 under it to know that you have 10 in that control group. And I really like that feature because I like aggregated more than not aggregated, both for casting reasons and also just for overview, because I otherwise often miss out on units that are hidden behind other unit cards. So that's why I like aggregated. And aggregated and merge also helps because once you have them in control group, you know what's in there anyways, and then you don't need them to be cluttering your screen. Tactical HUD size. Says what it does. Creates the HUD all around your screen, like minimap and the bar up on top. All of that gets increased. Label size increases the label of individual units and so on. I like it on small or very small. Minimal is also fine for playing myself, but I think for streaming and casting that's not so great. But yeah, that's what that does. If you have it not changed yet, I recommend changing it to a smaller level, because then your screen is not as cluttered. Yeah, same here. When you selected more, select multiple ones, you can also choose on which size it shows those. And here is one really big one that is set on no, and I don't know, like on default, and I don't know why Eugen has set that on no on default. When you create control groups in this game, when this is on no, once you click a unit in the control group, as you see it says micromanagement for control groups, smart groups, it automatically selects the whole group. But if you have the on yes, you can click individual units like in other Eugen games again in the control group. And I, as someone who plays with hotkeys, don't fully understand why you should ever put it on no, because then you can't select single units anymore, and you want to give single units tasks in your control groups. So I think this is only for single players or people who play without hotkeys. But at that point you don't create many smart groups anyways, usually. So not the biggest fan of this. But yeah, put it on yes, then you can click individual units in your control groups again. Really important to know, as I have already seen quite a couple of guys complaining about not being able to click single units. You can't set that up in the interface menu. Close requisition menu. This is at the beginning of the game, the one on the side. This is, you can put it up on always keep open. Then there's a button for it on the bottom as well where can you close it. Otherwise it closes automatically at the beginning of deployment. Or you can also keep it on open during deployment. I'm not quite sure what the difference is. I guess this is after time, and this is just after deployment has ended. But yeah, not quite sure what the difference is. But yeah, I'm for everything that is not always keep it open. Like, I guess this might be the better one. But I usually click it away at the beginning anyways. Display frontline. Can have it for both opponent, player, none. I'm not quite sure why this, how this works. I have tested it, but I didn't really see it. I guess it's, you only see your blue frontline and not the red frontline if you put it on player. Or you cannot. You can also choose to not see the frontline in the control points at all. But I don't really see why you should do that, because it's obviously an important intel feature in the game. So I for now put it on both, because I also obviously like the visuals of the frontline, as I am a Steel Division fanboy. Show unit names does what it says. Can say select yes or no. 3D unit scaling. This works when you scroll out. Units will automatically also be shown bigger, the unit module, if you have it on yes. On no, it stays the same no matter the zoom level. I like it on yes, as it is somewhat fine from the like amount it gets scaled up. But I would like more options, like in Steel Division and in Steel Division Normandy and in Steel Division 2 for this, so that it is a bit more granular, because at the moment it feels a bit too big on yes, but I like it more on yes than on no currently. Display minimap also does what it says. You can turn off the minimap. Low violence. I'm not quite sure what low violence does in this game. Less explosions maybe? Not quite sure. But you can turn that on as well, as there is no blood in this game anyway. Display tutorial videos panels. There are no tutorial video panels yet, but you can choose that. This is also taken out of Steel Division 2. Display non-owned DLC divisions. You can choose that for future DLCs. Also taken out of Steel Division 2. Not there yet. Display auto-deploy panel. Yes or no. If you never want to do auto-deploy, you can turn that off. So it doesn't show up at the beginning in the of the game, in the deployment phase. You can choose LOS tool showing all weapons ranges of your units. I don't know why you should ever turn it off, because that's an extra button, and that's actually the feature of that button now. So turning it off, I think, is a big no-no. Yeah, the weapon range feature I explained in yesterday's video. So check that out, where I talked about what's different between this game and Steel Division 2. And units comparison type is what happens when you hover over an enemy unit whilst having your own unit selected. It tells you if your unit has a chance to win and how high that is, like based on the factors. And if you have it on static, it just compares the base unit stats with the other unit. And if you put it on dynamic, it also takes into effect hit points and stress level, or like cohesion level in this game, I guess. Then you can choose for strategic, for campaign, the kind of icons and so on as well down here. Controls are your hotkeys, and you can change those. Audio does audio things, video does all your video settings, including shaky cam. Would recommend turning that off, or at least put it on mid. On max, it's just really costly for FPS and also kind of annoying when you micro. Privacy policy does tell you that, and credits are everyone working at Eugen on this game, and some other guys as well. And then one more feature that you should know about is where to find your replays. Replays can be found under load, and then down here, replays. Army General Campaigns, Historical Battles and Skirmishes will be found here as well when they are saved. So I guess saving mid-skirmish is confirmed. So yeah, that is it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope that helped you out a bit with finding the right settings for your game. I really love how Eugen allows you for putting up the settings the way you want. Though sometimes the default ones are quite daring, like micromanagement for smart groups. So till the next time, and hope to see you all at the 22nd at 1 PM CET in the WARNO opening tournament on Twitch. Till then, goodbye.